Hi, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to the Heart-Based Business Show. I am so glad that you are with us this morning because I have a phenomenal guest. You are going to love this. And if you are ready to make a difference in your business, and I don't mean you've been in business for maybe a year, 2 years, I mean that you've been in business and you're ready to move it to that next level. That's what our guest is talking about today with us. And I was just having a conversation with her and telling her about my course. And she said, "Oh, you're not charging enough." I love hearing that. Wouldn't you love to hear that? So I want to introduce you to Jessica Yarborough. I met her when she was online. She taught a free masterclass and I absolutely loved it. And she and I cross over a bit, but she has a lot of great information that she's going to share with you today. And I can't wait to hear what she has to say. She's a genius at showing entrepreneurs how to build an expert platform so that you can rapidly rise in your value and build credibility online. That's a really big thing nowadays, because we're doing most of our business online. So if you can't build credibility, then who's going to find you? Who's going to know you're even there? And Jessica travels the world teaching and inspiring entrepreneurs and helping them grow their influence, and they make an income and an impact that they really, really desire. So let me bring her on right now. Good morning, Jessica. I'm so glad you're with me.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
This is such an important topic, and I've really been looking forward to having you on the show because, I only put the heavy hitters on this show. They really have to make an impact in the world, and it has to be all positive and heartfelt. So what I'd love for you to define, first of all, for people is, what does it mean to scale your business?
Well, scaling a company is about uncapping your income potential and also putting in the systems and marketing in place that allows you to continue to grow your income while still maintaining that sense of time freedom. Because the last thing we want to do is create something that we resent. So for me, and my philosophy and why clients come to me is, it's not just about adding more clients. It's about how can we structure your business in a way where your income can continue to grow, but you actually are reclaiming that sense of time.
I think a lot of that has to do with automation. I've been automating everything I do. And when I talk to my clients, I say, I was talking to a woman yesterday and she makes $3 million a year and she's trying to go to that next level, but she was shuffling paper. I was so surprised. And I said, my gosh, my first step with you is to get you automated. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, automation's huge. It actually doesn't surprise me. I have many clients come to me that are doing 7 figures and they have no automation or systems in place. Really, I see it with 2 phases. First, what I do as a marketing strategist is we have to dial in your marketing. And typically that looks like, let's streamline what your offers are, narrow it down, and become really good and a really rock solid program that you can charge 10, 25, 50, 100K plus for. And then it's like understanding what is that messaging, positioning, and honing in on your ideal clients. Because again, when you're selling high end, it's not about having hundreds of clients. It's about working with the best of the best and charging a premium to get massive results for those people. So we work on things like positioning, marketing, messaging. When we have that done, we build your machine. Once the marketing machine is dialed in, it doesn't have to be perfect because success is a moving target, right? We're continually optimizing. That's when we look at operations and build in other things of automation beyond the marketing automation, like workflow tasks, communications, right butts and right seats, having the right team members in place. So it's really 2 phases. One is the marketing, because marketing is what generates money to fund, and then the operations.
So when you say the 2 phases, and this is one of the questions I get all the time is, well, I don't know if I want to spend the money to move that next level. And then their next comment is, I'm pretty comfortable where I am right now. That's probably the worst combination to deal with. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. I mean, look, here's my philosophy. You're either ready or you're not. And if you're saying that you want a 7-figure business, but you're not willing to invest money into your business beyond trying to cobblestone something together, then good luck. The reality is those with the most success are those that have a growth mindset and are willing to invest.
Mm-hmm.
So I only want to work with people who are absolutely ready, and not just say it, but actually back it up, walk their talk. And beyond that, they have to be committed, not just financially, but to doing the work. And that's why I'm such a big fan of charging high prices, because the lower end people miss appointments, don't do the work, don't show up for calls. They don't have enough skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But my clients who pay me a lot of money, you better believe, even if they don't want to do it, they're going to do the things that I tell them, because they know that on the other side of that is the freedom and the higher levels of success that they desire. And so that level of commitment has to not only be financial, but I'm willing to go all in and do the things that I've been putting off for years, because I was comfortable making 125, 250, 350,000, but I worked my tail off.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know if I do what Jessica says, I can take back my hours, put these things in place, and make a ton more money and actually enjoy my life.
Excellent. So my next question, you segued right into the next question. How does somebody know if they're ready to scale and move to that next level? What would you say are the points that they have to think about in order to make that move and know that it's the right time?
Well, there's different stages of scaling, and there's different stages of what I call CEO growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, so many entrepreneurs, they want to get to that 100K mark, right? I want to get to the 100K. And then they want to 10X. And it's like, we're not here to 10X. Like, that is an illusion. Good luck building a business that reaches $1 million in a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible. But what we want to do is we want to set benchmarks. So if you are at 75 or 150,000, my goal is to help you double that in the next year. That's actually really good, because what people need to understand is the more money that you make, the less time you have. So the people that are making a lot of money have very little time. The people that aren't making any money have a lot more time. So
yeah. Yeah.
And the busier that you get, the more you have to understand that it is a process. And that's why I structure my programs for a year. And every time my client, I was just on the phone yesterday, she signed up in January. We had outstanding results in 6 weeks. She replaced all of her previous year's income, and she was making over $300,000 a year. And she said, thank God this is a year-long program, because when you're making that kind of money, you have a lot of moving parts. And to then take part of your time away to redirect, hire new team members, put the systems in place, you just don't have a lot of free time. But it's about that end goal. Like, what is that end goal? Okay, I want to hit 750,000 this year. Great. I'm now going to allocate I'm going to reclaim my time and pour it into these things that I know that I need, that are going to allow me to hit that next level.
I think a big part of the challenge that people have is they get stuck in all the detail, and then they're not doing what they do best. I think that's really, really one of the things I see more than anything else. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I think it's twofold. Number one, it's a lot of details, and number two, it's totally overwhelming. And it's really important, because they are so many moving parts, that you have someone who understands how to guide you through that. Because a lot of people will go and pay a digital marketing agency $10,000 or whatever to build them a funnel, and then they're like, it doesn't work. And the funnel person says, you need better copywriting, go hire a copywriter, or you don't have traffic, now you got to run ads. Like, they don't understand how many moving parts there are. And so that becomes overwhelming, or people spend money, they get burned because it doesn't work, because they don't understand digital marketing, and then they retract. So I take a different approach. I want to validate what we're doing is working, and I'm going to validate it organically without spending money on ads, then use those funds to slowly start to build these things out. Mm-hmm. Do it mindfully, and we do it with precision and accuracy, so that we're not wasting time. And it's not about just throwing things up at a wall. It's about really looking at what is our core message, who do we want to reach, and how can we strategically build out every component to support the sales process. And as I was sharing with you before our interview, it's not always sexy.
Yeah, it's not sexy.
It's fun to put together and sell high-end packages. Awesome. Everybody loves that. But all of the little marketing, little parts, the cogs to that machine aren't always sexy, but it works. And when you're asking that question, if you know you're ready, how do you know if you're ready? Are you overwhelmed? Are you exhausted? Do you feel like you're just created another job for yourself? Are you making less than your corporate job after taxes and expenses? Are you working 60, 70-hour weeks? Are you starting Mondays exhausted? Then yeah, you need to get your systems dialed in and get help so that you can actually not just make more money, but work 30 hours a week or 25 hours a week. It's possible, but it's not about doing more. I'll tell you that. It's actually about doing less, but doing the right things.
Right. I agree. And, you know, I get so many people who say, I'm so stressed, I'm exhausted, I'm over the top. And that's your first sign that they don't have the systems in place and they're doing the small stuff that doesn't make them the money. Right.
And it's true. And actually, oftentimes it will be inner work, like we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Some people say, well, I've mastered the inner work. And I'll say, well, then why are you lowering your prices because of the crisis? Like they haven't done the inner work. I'll tell you that. So it's partly, sometimes clients have, you know, self-sabotaging patterns that we have to work through around, I have to work hard to be successful, or I'm not worthy, I can't charge more money. I was talking with one of my clients and she finally nodded her head, and we're in year 2 together. And it was like pulling teeth to get her to raise her prices. And she pitched a $65,000 program the other day and didn't even blink. And she's a dating coach. And she said, I can't believe I did that. And before I would just, we got to raise your prices, we have to do that. And now she's selling 18, 36K all the way up to 65K programs. But it was a process. So part of this is unpacking and unwinding some of those limiting beliefs. And then part of it's just like showing them the marketing know-how to prove to their subconscious mind that they can do it and create a new reference point of what's possible.
Yeah. And that's exactly it, because we get what we think about, right? If we don't think we can, we won't. If we think we can, we will. There's no question about it.
If you are like, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, it's not going to work. You know?
That's right.
But some people don't get that. And that's why I shared with you earlier, I really like to work with established business owners, because at least they've proven, even if it's not on the highest level, they've proven at some way, shape, or form that they can make money. So you don't have to prove that initial, I can do this, I can make money. That is a real problem with total beginners that are just like, no.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work. I don't do it. And so it's more of when they're established, it's more about shining that light and saying, well, look at all the people you've helped. Look at the results. Do you think that that's worth $1,000? No, it's worth $50,000. And then they're like, oh, you're right. I helped this person make $500,000 last year. Why did I charge $1,500? Exactly. Then they start to listen. They start to lean in, because deep down, we know, some part of us knows that we could play bigger.
Yes.
And we are worthy. And especially with women, and especially with the age, I would say late 30s to mid 50s. There's a lot more unwinding and programming, reprogramming that needs to happen, versus, you know, there's a lot of 20-something-year-olds who are like, yeah, I'm worthy. Here's 50,000. I know everything about life.
Yeah. Don't they think that? I think that age range that you were talking about is, I think those are the ones that have such a hard time, because you know, they are so afraid of rejection, and they're afraid that they just aren't capable of doing what they want to do. And I do a principle where there's 3 levels of programs. Do you do that, or do you just do one and that's it? What are your thoughts on that?
So I have one methodology, the Expert Accelerator methodology, but I have 2 different ways that you can work with me, and more high touch and has a little bit of done for you built in, and is more geared towards people who are making at least $250,000 a year and they want to scale. My core program, my Expert Accelerator program, is really for people who are at the 75K to 100, 125, and they want to get to $250,000. So have a very specific, like, let's dial in your marketing. And then the people who are making more money, obviously we're dealing with other things like the marketing is one, but more growing the team, putting more systems in place. So it's really the same method, but two different approaches to it, or slightly different speeds at which you're going through the process.
So yeah, let's talk about the team. You know, I had so many challenges with individuals. I have a vast team. You probably do too. And just getting them up and running, especially when you hire somebody new, there's a lot of training that goes into it about the way that you do things. I just do video and have them follow video. I love Loom for that reason, because it's so easy to say, now you do this, now you do that. And I think that the getting them up and running is probably the hardest thing, I think, because it's another mind altogether. And I love to say, if you don't choose the right butt for the seat, you got a big problem. Yeah. And you know pretty quickly it isn't going to work. So what are your suggestions for people hiring support?
Well, you know, I would say over 100 million online. And when you ask him what is the hardest part of running a business, and he will say it's hiring and managing people.
Yes.
So it's not going to change. And that's part of what you have to look at, is like, what do I actually want for my life, and how many people do I want? Because personally, I don't want massive offices and managing.
Yeah, I don't either.
When I work with clients who have 200 people on their team, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So deal with that. So it's first understanding what you want, and then, you know, like getting really clear about what your process is and who's going to own it. So everybody wants that rock star VA. It doesn't exist. You know, you're going to have different people with different strengths. And so I think the biggest key hire in the beginning for someone as they scale is finding a nice executive assistant who can then manage all the other VAs. Because where I see a lot of stress that comes into play is when the CEO is managing a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So the immediate thing to stop. You might have 4 or 5 VAs, have a key point person, and that's the only person you deal with. Really, I don't even talk to my other people hardly at all. Like, she manages contractors. She's almost like project manager, but more executive assistant blend. And let them handle that management. And it's okay to understand, like, I might need a content curator. I need a community manager. And to have these different people, just don't let you be the person delegating tasks, managing tasks, or having them come to you to keep them busy. Like, you need to give them some freedom and let them make mistakes, so you don't end up micromanaging them. And you need to take time to lead them. And that, I think, can be troubling as well, because, you know, as a business owner, we want things done. We want it done right the first time. We want it done right now.
Yes.
And so initially our reaction is, why didn't you do it? Instead of just saying, like, let me have a conversation and hold that container and let you explain what happened and come to your own realization of how you can do better.
Right.
And it's not easy, especially if you're type A and fiery personalities like you and me. I think it's just a matter of being patient and giving people a little grace and let them kind of grow into their role. And it's not going to happen quickly. It's a process, because they have to learn about you, your quirks, what you like, what you don't like, what your style is. Like, I don't want to be bugged all the time, you know? So it's just learning that and giving that grace and that time period for that integration to happen.
And, you know, I think you have to think in the beginning when you start hiring people on, well, I used to have 23,000 that worked under me, and I had one office manager who managed all the others that were under her. And then there was another layer. So it was 7 layers before they ever got to me. And usually it was the biggest challenge of the day, which made my life so stressful. I'll never do that again. But what I was going to say is that when you're hiring somebody, think about their time frame too. Where are they in the world? Because if you're going to hire somebody in the Philippines, they're going to be texting you if you don't have a manager that takes care of everything at 8 o'clock at night if you're on the Pacific side. And that's really annoying because I like to shut down at 6. I don't want to work after 6 o'clock because I've been already working from 6 to 6 and I'm done. So that's something else you have to think of too, is where they are, especially when you're going through the training process. If you don't have, and I don't have that person that manages all the others right now, will soon, but don't right now, mainly because I haven't found one I like. It takes time.
It does take time. And yeah, to your point, like I have some VAs in the Philippines, I have some in India, but I have my core person US based. And I know it's more money for the entrepreneurs. Like, I know it is more money, but I promise you it will save you the headache of trying to, like, for example, my EA is local and she'll pick up t-shirts and mail them. She's there at my events. She'll go do, I don't know, task, just personal task, whatever. So it's nice to have someone that is of the same culture and in the same time zone to help manage that, so that you can still save money and do certain things overseas. But if you have a full-time VA, in the Philippines, it's going to cause a lot of problems. And I've actually migrated many of my clients from having that person as like their full-time to using them as a resource for certain things, but not as their executive assistant, because the mistakes and the stress are quite high.
Yeah, and that's all. She just does part-time things like setting up StreamYard. But just trying to get that kind of thing done takes a lot. And you have to have a lot of patience. It's so important to have patience because people get their feelings hurt very, very easily. And they take it very personally. So, it's a matter of stepping back and saying, well, how do I want to handle this challenge? And then thinking it through and how you're going to say it to them. Because if you just launch out at them and get mad at them, they're going to say, well, I don't think I'm the right person for this job. Then all the time you've wasted trying to get them up and running is useless.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. You talk about cultural barriers. We've had that issue for sure. I had a ops person and, made one of my Philippine people cry. So.
Yeah, that's what I don't want to do. And they're very soft.
They're very soft. And she was very, I had her on my phone as breaking balls as her. Awesome. She was awesome, but she's like very precise ops person and takes no BS from anybody. Again, it's like, that's just the business of people. It's like, how do you navigate the different personality types? And again, if you're the CEO, hopefully you put out fires occasionally, but for the most part, you have some help to manage people.
Yeah. So tell me, or tell our watchers, our audience, about what you'd like to offer them for today, because you have something very special. And I'd really like to spend a little bit of time. Our time goes so fast on this show. It's just unbelievable. So why don't you go ahead and talk about what you have to offer them?
So I have a free masterclass that I recorded on how to easily close high-paying clients over the phone. In it, I break down my process that I has used and my clients have used. It's literally generated millions of dollars in revenue. And so if you've ever struggled to close a sale over the phone or don't understand how to structure a powerful enrollment conversation, then check it out. It's free. There's no pitch. There's nothing being sold at the end. If you want to have a call, there's an invitation after.
Awesome. And then when they have that call with you, what are you looking for when you talk to them?
Well, we pre-screen everyone through an application process, and not everybody makes it through to an actual call. And quite frankly, that's because the last thing that we want to do is get people excited about something that they aren't able to do. So first, we go through an application process. We put you through some information to make sure it's still a fit. And then I'm looking for people who have a baseline revenue of really 75 to 90,000. I certainly, it can go all the way up to $4 million. And I'm looking for people that are committed, that are willing to do the work, take action, are value-based, have proven results, like they've had an offer. We're probably going to change it completely, but it's working. Those are the things that I look for when hiring a client. Congruency, integrity, with our values, all of those things are important as well.
Wow, perfect explanation. Thank you for that. That's very, very helpful. And what final thoughts do you have before we close? I'd really love to hear some real positively based idea that they can implement today.
Yeah, well, I would say for everyone watching, most of you, 99.9% of you, need to raise your prices and own your value. And a quick exercise to do is just run through your biggest wins that you've had with some of your clients, and see, if you've helped someone save their marriage, you're a relationship coach and you've helped save their marriage, is that worth $500? Well, divorce court is what? Half their life savings. In California, we're looking at $500,000 or beyond. So you need to raise your prices to be in alignment with saving that marriage. You need to raise your prices in alignment with helping someone double, triple, quadruple, 10x their sales. If there is a big discrepancy in the value that you provide and the price that you charge, you're going to continue to attract freeple, cheaple, people who don't see your value. And the only way for people to see your value is for you to first own it.
Excellent. And then I've got a question after that I've heard from many, and I'm just going to throw it out there because that's what they're thinking right now, is what about if there's a problem in the economy and does nobody have any money left? What do you do then? Because I'm seeing, and so many are saying the same thing, which I'm just appalled at how everybody's giving their programs away for free. And I'm like, I don't get this. I don't understand.
Well, I always look at results. I shared a live stream the other day, and within the first 2 weeks of May, the people in my program had done over 100,000 in sales. And that's ranging from leadership to a healer to executive coach, business coach, career coach. But the point is, there's always, what you focus on expands. So if you're going to focus on negative fear, economy's crashing, then that's what you're going to see more of. If you can shift your focus to say there's actually opportunity here, what am I allowing myself to invite into my energetic space? What am I willing to see? You'll see that people are actually spending money right now. There are plenty of people with money. There are industries that are actually booming right now. Amazon, the top billionaires made an extra $225 billion since the lockdown. So just FYI, e-commerce, health and wellness is booming. Software, SaaS companies are booming. There are plenty of individuals who have a lot of discretionary income. So it's just a matter of connecting with the right people and holding yourself in that vibration of, yes, there's abundance, and that's what I'm willing to see and allow it.
I agree with you 100%. I've never done so much business as what I'm doing right now. I mean, it's just amazing. And I think it's because so many people are at home thinking about what they need to do next. And like you, like me, we're always talking about keep moving, just keep moving forward. Don't stop and grovel in what everybody else is groveling in. Be who you are and be powerful. Jessica, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. So everybody, I hope you took a lot of really good advice away from Jessica. She is such a shaker and a mover. I really admire who she is and appreciate that she took the time to come on the show today. And as you know, we're on the show every Wednesday at 9:30 Pacific time, bringing you these heavy hitters that are really making a difference in the world with a message that you can implement today. So have a really great week, and I will see you next week on Wednesday at 9:30.